Good afternoon on what is a warm, grey and cloudy day. It is Wednesday the 3rd of July and I'm in the reading up a nice hot cup of tea and another package to continue unboxing. What I've got in here is that you can't really see what I've got in there. So if I pull this open, I've got a sheaf here of scenarios and supplements for Delta Green, which is the role-playing game, also Delta Green, the role-playing game, which is a role-playing game of Lovecraftian and conspiratorial horror published by Arc Dream Publishing. So I have done, you see, I've looked at that one, and that one, that one, and that one, which leaves the last one in the package, which is Convergence. And Convergence is really a very important, very special adventure for Delta Green because it actually predates Delta Green, the role-playing game. It was originally written for use with Call of Cthulhu, would have been 5th/4th edition, and published in issue 7 of Unspeakable Oath, which was Pagan Publishing's Call of Cthulhu, Lovecraftian horror, role-playing magazine through much of the 90s and then into the sort of like early noughties. And there's been a few issues since, and it was always a magazine worth getting because the reviews were good, the scenarios were good, the content was fantastic, and it provided a very different point of view and look at the Lovecraftian mythos. So, but this then was everyone's introduction to Delta Green. And I don't think it's actually been published since, but now it's been upgraded to Delta Green, the role-playing game. The Sky Watches, September 1996. It's a small Tennessee town. In a small Tennessee town, teenager Billy Ray Spivey vanishes for 2 days without explanation and comes back changed. When he uses unnatural powers to kill 2 people, conspiracy theorists blame UFOs. Delta Green has other suspicions. A team of agents heads to Groversville to find the truth, but they may become the next victims. Written by, written by John Scott Tynes, Convergence was the first Delta Green scenario ever published. Delta Green's illegal conspiracy of government agents exploit their connections to cover up lethal incursions from beyond time and space, facing the madness so that no one else must. Convergence has blighted the nightmares of unwitting players since it first appeared in 1992. This edition has been thoroughly edited and updated for Delta Green, the role-playing game, and it accompanies Delta Green, the Conspiracy, a source book for terrors in the 90s. This is the horror that started it all. Prepare your briefing, gather your players, give them our best wishes. None of you will ever be the same. So what's interesting about Delta Green is there's really kind of 2 splits. There's a classic period referred to as Delta Green, the Conspiracy, which is what Delta Green was as a role-playing setting in the 90s. Not for very long, essentially, because it only came out in 1997, all the way up through to the publication of Delta Green, the role-playing game, and that updated the setting to take account of the events of post 9/11. In which case, it basically Delta Green no longer was a disavowed conspiracy; it was a conspiracy within the government that was acknowledged and had a mission, but this takes you back to that period. So you could actually run a couple of campaigns, one in the now, one in the past, and so on. So we open up. We've got the introduction, discussion of what the truth is, and then you have the details of the agents being assigned and the background to Billy Ray Spivey. And this is the briefing that the agents will receive, and where they will go to Groversville, Tennessee. You've got the 2 maps there, and then we have the involvement of the other agency, Majestic, which was established to take advantage and understand extraterrestrial technology, and basically it's become a rival to Delta Green, almost at this period, attempting to hunt down Delta Green and get hold of its knowledge. So And this goes into a bit more background about the setting and so on, about the nature of the scenario, of course, what's going on, and what the player characters, what the agents will uncover as they conduct their investigation. Encountering various NPCs, investigating Billy Ray himself, finding out more, and so on. And that comes to pretty much, the scenario is really short. You can probably play it in 1 or 2 sessions because you really come to that close. You've got player aids, a couple of handouts, and then the other thing you've got involvement here is Phenomenon X, which is it's a bit like the Smoking Gunman in the X-Files, a private organization dedicated to uncovering existence of UFOs. And then we deal with the resolution of the crisis, and it is a crisis. What the actual forces involved do as a response, and they're quite active here. And then again, the other arm of Majestic NRO, Section Delta, which is essentially the armed wing of the agency, and essentially where they can't, where Majestic can't essentially take, it will often destroy and send in NRO Section Delta. We've got the aftermath, followed by the NPCs that'll be encountered during the scenario. Some of the extraterrestrial threats, an encounter with NRO Delta Chief Lepus, sort of like the chief bogeyman, I think, of Majestic, whom nobody wants to encounter. And we've got a nice little flyer there for Promise, Tennessee, Fort Grover's Mill. What's going on there captures a bit of flavour of the setting in the late 90s. So that is Convergence, one of the most famous scenarios for Delta Green published because it's the original. And it's interesting. It brings it. The thing is, what it does is it showcases literally all of the elements of the setting in one go. If you wanted to showcase what Delta Green was all about, this is it. In some ways, it's not necessarily the most subtle of scenarios, because essentially it's a little bit too kitchen sink. Doesn't mean it's not a bad scenario. Doesn't mean it's not great to play. It really kind of works more as a one shot rather than a full on addition to your campaign. But it might well be something to add in and hope that your player characters survive, your agents survive and learn. But we'll see. Anyway, that's Convergence for Delta Green, the role-playing game. If you enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to more unboxings of the Nook, where you will see me out here with a package containing a book or game, or in this case, a scenario for Delta Green, the role-playing game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing the Nook. I will be back again with another one. Bye for now.